and welcome to one more English lesson. Okay, as I always say, let's move on because today we're gonna have a really deep study. Okay, which we're gonna analyze some examples and then we're gonna have to answer. Okay, some questions, and the question style is the one that we normally do. You know, like on the question part, which is like we're gonna analyze some source, and normally what I mean by source is like maybe some picture or some piece of writing, yeah, or part of an article maybe. And this is what basically we're gonna check today. We're gonna see one sample, and then we're gonna have uh, the some other ones to answer, right? So basically, this is what we're gonna do. And of course, I mean, always thank you very much for being here, yeah, like, and for your really good work. Okay, I know I'm gonna say sometimes you're gonna be busy, but you always stay here with me, following you. How can I say you give your time for me, yeah, just for us to get deep into that. So I always say thank you. All right, so let's go on. I'm gonna change the material right now and just follow me. Okay, so let's go, and good luck, of course. And here we begin, right, with the first page, which is 38 actually. Okay, and then as you can see here, worked exam style questions. So what I mean with that is that we're gonna analyze that, and we're gonna practice how to answer that. Okay, because this is basically how it works when we are, how can I say, when we are doing like some sample, right? Okay, so you can see my image here, right? You can see me here. So just follow me, right? So let it go. And let's begin. Let's begin the reading. These samples answer will help you with analyzing sources and writing narrative accounts, which means it's gonna help you, I mean, how to analyze it correctly. Okay, and then we're gonna go. So as you can see this picture here, right, next to me. Okay, and we have this one here, and I'm gonna eliminate myself. Okay, just to we focus on the picture. Okay, so we can see Locarno, which is here, yeah, which is the name of one of the treatises that we have studied. War, hatreds. Okay, there is another sentence here. There is this woman getting out of this dark background. Okay, coming to this door, yeah, like which maybe means like a light. Okay, I don't know. So, and this is the picture, and under that we have here an American cartoon published on 8th December 1925. The title of the cartoon is Into the Light. The woman is labeled Civilization. Okay, so this is what we have up to here. And then if we go down a little, okay, we have here the explanation. So how can you tell that the source above supports the Locarno treatise? And use the source and your own knowledge to explain your answer. Remember, if by any chance, right, you forgot, like maybe you go, teacher, I forgot, what is Locarno treatise? What does that mean? Go back some pages, and you are gonna see that is one of the treatises that we have studied before. Okay, so if you don't have that in your mind right now, go back, yeah, take a look on the scan very quickly just to refresh your mind, right? So let's go back here. And so here there is an answer sample. Okay, and we have some notes. These here are notes explaining why it is important to add this specific detail. Okay, so I'm gonna read the answer and I'm gonna explain these notes that are here. Okay, so again, remember the question, right? How can you tell that the source above supports the Locarno treatise? Use the source and your own knowledge to explain your answer. So let's go. The sample given here begins like this. We know that the source supports the Locarno treatise because it shows Locarno as an open door which is allowing the female figure of civilization to come out of the darkness of war hatreds and into a brightly lit room. Under the Locarno Treaties, Germany voluntarily accepted the western borders it had been given at Versailles, and the treaties also allowed Germany to join the League of Nations in 1926. And then we continue. Therefore, this is a very important word, okay? If you don't remember what is the meaning of therefore and how we use that, check it out on the dictionary, okay? Look for yourself. I don't want to give you the answer here because firstly, I think I have told you that before. And secondly, this is a good chance for you to check, analyze the meaning, And when I ask you to check that, okay, I don't mean put it into Google Translate and then check the translation. No, what I say is that use a dictionary like the Macmillan dictionary that we have there is an online version, What I mean is put these words into that online dictionaries that give you the definition in English, English to English. This is what I mean. Try to do that, because this is a very good way for you to practice your understanding, okay? So, coming back and continue the reading, right? So, therefore, the Locarno Treaties were seen as an important step towards lasting peace in Europe because they suggested that Germany was moving on from its resentment about Versailles. The source reflects this by suggesting that the treaties would allow civilization to move away from war hatred, which may represent Germany's anger and resentment about the terms of the Treaty of Versailles, and into the light which could represent peace. Okay, so let's make some analysis here. Okay, so this is the writing. This is the thing that we have. Checked, and then remember that I told you that I would explain like these notes here. Okay, so we have this first one here in this side, which means I'm gonna get closer a little. It's important to use your own knowledge to explain what the source shows. When I say use your own knowledge, it means that don't only use the information that you have read on the book, but also make some research by yourself. Try to add some extra information about this topic by looking for example, on YouTube or like anything like that, and then you can add that in your answer as well. Okay, so this is a very good way to show that you are really working hard to, at least trying to give a good answer, okay? And then it also shows that, that you have a good vocabulary and you can express yourself in a very good way, okay? And then we have the other one, which is in the other side, right? Here. Identify different features of the source and explain what they represent. So identify different features, which means basically to get different characteristics of the information that you are given, and then show that you can explain that not only basically following exactly what we have read on the book, but also you can put that in different points of view, So for example, so one of the characteristics was this, and another different one, yeah, because normally everything has more than one characteristics. You got it? And here, yeah, they use the word feature, which is the same thing. So this is what I want you to do, to try to, when you are writing your explanation, show more than one point of view, like really show to the teacher that you have a good vocabulary, that you know how to express yourself using not only one way of answering, but showing more than one point of view. Okay, so of course, in the beginning, this is kind of a complicated, but if you need help, that's why the teacher is here. Ask me, teacher, I did one sample. Can you check that for me? So please use me, all right? So these are some of the samples. And then now I'm gonna make a comment over the picture, okay? So based on what we have read, yeah, and analyzing that sentence here, okay, we can get into one, how can I say, one opinion, right? So if we analyze this picture, yeah, we can say that the source, what I mean, the person, yeah, like a fonte, right? A fonte de quem criou essa imagem, né? That's why we say like the source who made this cartoon, who created that picture here, yeah. So probably, as we analyze here, okay, he supports. I mean, if he supports, means he agrees. He thinks that the Locarno treatise, I mean, was something good, okay? Because why? Because if we analyze this picture here, right? Uh, it shows Locarno as an open door. How I know? Because Locarno is written here. So Locarno is an open door, which is allowing the female figure, which is this one, yeah, that here, I mean, that the meaning of this figure here, it's like civilization. Yeah, this is what we have read on the text. So the meaning of this word is civilization. So that's why here the woman is labeled civilization. Okay, uh, so I mean, this is allowing the female figure of civilization to come out. That's why she's coming out of the door. Okay, of this darkness of war, hatreds. I mean, hatreds. I mean, that things that people hated, right? And she's coming into this brightly lit room, because this here, it seems that she's coming to some place like lighter, right? She's getting out of the darkness and coming into the light side. So you see, so by this analysis, probably if Locarno is the door, the idea that we can, I don't know, that we can say, yeah, that we can uh, notice is that maybe here the person who did that, his idea is that Locarno was like an open door, was a chance, was a good opportunity to get out of this darkness that it was before with all the conflict, okay, and maybe could be something, a new opportunity, right? Something good. So that's why we say that in the beginning of the answer here, we know that the source supports, right? I'm gonna show you here, okay. Here we know that the source supports because probably each agrees with that idea. All right, so this is a little of this explanation, and now I'm gonna move to let's go to the continuation, to the next part of the reading, okay, and let's check that. Okay, so we have the second one, yeah, the second part of the writing actually, uh, and then let's see, this is the question, yeah. So give an account of how the Great Depression increased international tensions. So in this is the second paper, okay, which is the second question. Give an account of how the Great Depression increased international tensions. Is like give an explanation, give an account. I mean, give your point of view, give your explanation, your opinion, okay, of how this Great Depression, which was the economic crisis, okay, the economical crisis, right? How this increased the international tensions, okay? So why that this international, I mean, this depression, the Great Depression, this economical crisis, why that this thing made that the tensions, I mean, among the international countries increased? How, what is the connection between this depression and the rise of these tensions? Okay, so let's analyze that. Okay, so moving on. Again, I'm gonna do the full reading, and then after I'm gonna make some comments on the notes, and then we go to the next ones. Okay, so the Great Depression increased international tensions because it led to the rise of extreme right-wing leaders. Extreme right, yeah, this word here means a direita, ok? Né? A gente tem a direita e a esquerda. Aqui eles estão labeling, né? Estão falando que isso aí é como se fosse a direita, né? No sistema político. Especially Hitler. So here they say that Hitler was a right-wing leader. Okay. And as a result of the Depression, the USA stopped lending money abroad in 1929 and asked for its loans to be repaid. Remember, loans was empréstimos, right? To be repaid, I mean, America had given money, not given, right? Really had lent money to some countries, so now they want to be repaid, right? So this particularly affected Germany, whose economy relied on U.S. loans. I mean, you see, so Germany was really relying on the American money, right? So that's why it affected Germany directly. The German banks failed, exports suffered, and by 1932, unemployment had risen to over 6 million. These circumstances fueled support for Hitler because people hoped that he would provide strong leadership. His election in 1933 increased international tensions because he wanted to challenge the League of Nations and break the Treaty of Versailles. Okay, so we had some words up to here, okay, and then I'm gonna make some comments for you. Okay, so let's go. Some comments for you. Okay, we have a very interesting word here, right? Because the word field. Let me see if I find it. For the German economic free of suffering unemployment and okay, so this word here. The circumstances fueled. So this word means, this word, the pronunciation is fueled. Okay, so what does that mean? Yeah? What is the meaning of the word fueled? When something is fueled, it means that something increase or something become stronger, you know, like so we use that like fuel, okay, which means, for example, like fuel, we can translate that per gasolina, por exemplo, ok? Se for fuel é como se a gente enchesse o tanque de algo, mas de forma mais, como que eu coloco isso? De forma mais literária falando, né? Não é na forma prática em si, mas, por exemplo, example here, as I have read, right? These circumstances fueled support for Hitler, ou seja, essas circunstâncias fizeram que aumentasse ali, né? Que fosse que o tanque de apoio ao Hitler enchesse. Dessa maneira que a gente expressa a palavra fuel, ok? Muito bem, então é como se enchesse o tanque, ele se aumentasse a potência de algo. Alright? So, let's come back. Alright? So this is the point up to here, okay? And let's move on because we're gonna continue the reading and let's see some things more. Okay, continuing the reading, okay, from this one here, from the Great Depression. The Great Depression also increased international tensions because it was an important cause of Japanese aggression in the 1930s, which led to the Manchurian crisis. Okay, so the Great Depression was also increased international tension, and then there is an explanation here why it increased. Okay, so moving on, continuing, follow me. Okay, from here, the Depression. The Depression had a negative impact on Japanese industries, and Japan responded to this with a policy of military expansion to strengthen the country. In September 1931, Japan sent troops to take control of Manchuria. The Japanese then went on to invade China's Jihao province in 1933 and pushed further into China in 1937. Okay, so this is some of the informations that we have up to now. So are you getting, are you understanding, are you following me? Okay, so please, do this reading, yeah, together with me while as I'm reading. So just check it out this on your book. Okay, so just pay attention carefully on that because this is a very important one and this is an example, you know. This thing that we are reading here is a answer sample, is a sample of an answer, okay? This is just for us to analyze and see how the student did here and what we are supposed to do when it's our time to do that, all right? So let's move on, let's continue that and let it go. Okay, so continue the reading, let it go. So we're gonna move on from here, can you see? As well, so let it go. As well as causing tension between Japan and China, the Manchurian crisis also increased tension between Japan and other members of the League of Nations. Lord Lytton produced a report for the League, saying that Japan had been wrong to invade Manchuria, but Japan refused to accept this report and withdrew from the League in 1933. When we say that they withdrew the League, it means that they got out of the League. Before that, they belonged to the League of Nations, as we have talked about last week. But because of that, like the League that kind of didn't agree with that invasion, so they 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 decided to leave the League, right? So moving on, let's continue our reading. So let's move on here from in addition. Okay, so follow me. In addition, the Great Depression increased international tensions because it was an important factor in the League of Nations' failure to respond effectively to the Manchurian crisis. By 1932, more than 2.5 million people were unemployed in Britain, and over 30 million unemployed in the industrial countries of the West. This meant that Britain and France had to focus on solving unemployment and other domestic problems caused by the Depression. So, this is a very interesting one. When we say domestic, when we use that word domestic problems, yeah, like here, it means internal problems, okay? I mean problems that they had like in their country. So as far as we can understand here by the writing is that one of the reasons that didn't they didn't really, act in a more strict way, in a more direct way to stop the aggressions and that kind of stuff is because they were weak, they they were like solving the problems inside of their own countries, so if they were struggling to do that, how they could interfere in international ones, like get one more problem. So this is that the idea that the text gives up to here. Okay, so let's move on, let's continue the reading. So moving on, and then here let's continue. As a result, they were willing to take any action that might have a negative effect on their economies, such as imposing sanctions on Japan or stopping the sale of weapons to Japan, which was an important trading partner for them. Instead, despite Lord Lytton's report, the League did nothing at all, allowing Japanese aggression to continue. This increased international tension because it showed dictators like Hitler and Mussolini that the League was weak and would not confront them if they pursued aggressive military policies. For example, this gave Mussolini the confidence to invade Abyssinia in October 1935, an aggressive act which further fueled international tensions, which further this act, because they didn't act, so some countries they felt confident and then they did something, and these things led to this huge tensions that we had in the Second World War, right? So basically this is the sample written, the sample answer written by our fake student here, okay? And now I'm gonna read the, how can I say, the small purple notes, that we have through the text, and then I'm gonna make some comments about that, so just follow me. So let's check that. And in this one, the first comment that we have is this purple one here, I think in the left side. So the first sentence directly addresses the question. So it means, a primeira sentença ali era, já endereça diretamente, assim, ela já vai direto ao ponto. The Great Depression increased international tensions because it led the rise of extreme right-wing leaders, especially Hitler, ok? So você vê que ela já vai direto ao ponto aqui do give an account on how the Great Depression. Então, uma das razões foi que a Great Depression, increased international tensions because it led to the rise of extreme right-wing. Então, segundo ele, isso levou aí ao crescimento desses países de direita, right? Extreme, right? De extrema direita, as they say. So this is one thing, I mean, that when we are going to answer, we have to really be careful in reading and understanding the question so we can give answers that are really connected, that really match the questions, okay? So let's analyze the other one. And if we go down a little here, we have this other one here, yeah. His election, this part here, his election in 1933 increased international tensions because he wanted to challenge the League of Nations and break the Treaty of Versailles. So this information links back to the question by explaining how Hitler's election increased the international tensions. So I mean, he explained that his election increased internationally because he wanted to challenge the League. So if he wasn't a friend of the League of Nations, so of course his election would be a problem, right? And then going down here, make sure you write about more than one reason. Então, tenha certeza que você vai aí, né, escrever mais do que apenas uma razão. Ah, aconteceu isso por causa disso. No, give more, give two, three if possible. Like, be really creative and really, how can I say it, and really use your creativity to do that, you know, like, I mean, really diversify your answer, no, give you always more than just one sample, okay? And let's get back. So analyzing the next one, which is this one here, right? So including dates and statistics show that you have a good knowledge of the period, of course, right? So we have some dates here, you know, like showing that you really understand what you are saying, okay? By 1932, I think this is good in every writing, okay? Every time that you have to answer something, if you know dates and names, use that in your answer because it gives some authority, you know, like it shows that wow, that person really studied, he really got that, you know, he even like know where is it from and when does it happen, you know, like, so just focus on that, okay? And going down here too, use linking words and phrases to show how developments were connected. Example, as a result, you know, so this is like a linking word. So again, just to give you a quickly reminder, yeah, linking words are words that link one sentence to the other one. For example, I was doing da 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 da, but da 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 da, and he was doing da 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 da. Consequently, you know, so linking words are words that we use to connect to the first sentence to the second one. Normally, maybe the second sentence is like subordinated to the first one, you know, like this is very Portuguese explanation, right? But this is the idea of using linking words. It makes your writing richer, prettier, and more structured, okay? So just use that. This is very, very important, all right? And the last one here, it is important to back up all your points with relevant examples. Like, for example, this gave Mussolini the confidence to invade Abyssinia in October 1935. So, back up. Every time that we say for you to back up your answer about something, it means that you're gonna give like an example and a practical effect about that. For example, okay, which one? I'm gonna give a very, very simple example, okay? Do you think Hitler was a good man or a bad man? And then you say, okay, I think he was a good man. So give support. Okay, I think he's a good man because he did this, he did that, and he did that. This is how we give support, you know, like to the answer, is how we back up the answer. But if my answer is negative, it's the obvious, right? No, Hitler was a bad man. Why? Because he did this, and he did that. So this is the backup. It's like not only agree or disagree with the question, but also give some support, give some backup. What I mean with that? Information, okay? Write more some information explaining why you made this specific decision, right? So this is how to back up things. Yeah, I think that is the explanation up to here, right? So let's get back there. Okay, so this is the analyzed answer, right? So please remember that this page and the page before that we have read, right? These are for for you to read and use as a sample. This one, only reading. You don't have to write anything, not specific about this one. This is just a sample. This and the other one that we have read before, okay? Just to see how to do that. That's why we have read and I explained some points and how he did that. Now I'm gonna read the exercises that you're gonna have to do. So follow me. Okay, so exam style questions. Now we're gonna work it out, okay? So we have read the samples before. Now just follow me. Here is the first exercise. This is what you're gonna have to do. Here are 3 more sources and some lovely exam style questions for you to get stuck into, for you to enjoy. So we begin with the source A, which is the first one, which we have a sentence, we have a question, we have a picture, and let's see what we have to do here. A British cartoon published in the magazine Punch on 26th March 1919, the branch that President Wilson is giving to the Dove is labeled League of Nations. Okay, so analyze that, and we know that it's League of Nations because it's here, it's written. You can check that in your book. And this we call branch. Wilson, do you remember who was Wilson? Wilson was the I think the American president at the time, right? Punch is the name of the newspaper, right? And it was London Charivar, right? March 21st, 1919. So there is a sentence down here, right? Overweighted. Let's see what we have here. Let me get closer. President Wilson. Oh, sorry, the letter is really bad. Okay, President Wilson, here's your olive branch. Now get busy. Dove of peace. Of course, I want to please everybody, but isn't this a bit thick? I mean, overrated. You understand that? Então, o que ele quis demonstrar aqui, né? Que isso aqui tá um pouco acima, né? Acima da... Tá um pouco mais pesado do que o passarinho vai aguentar levar. Aí ali embaixo está o President Wilson, ele tem uma fala. Here's your olive branch. Aqui está o seu galho de oliva, né? Agora, now get busy. Tipo assim, agora, tipo, vá trabalhar agora sim, né? Ocupe-se, né? Aí o pombinho da paz, né? O Dove of Peace, ele fala. E claro, I want to please everybody. Eu quero deixar todo mundo feliz, né? But isn't this a little bit thick? Isso aqui não é um pouquinho grande demais, um pouquinho grosso, né? Isso está escrito nessa parte aqui, ó. Não sei se vocês vão conseguir ler exatamente, mas se vocês não conseguirem, olhem no book de vocês, ok? Então, this is the first cartoon, okay? Very, very, very analyzed. All right? So, and then analyze that, understand, this was a British cartoon published. Keep that in mind, and then let's go to the next one. This was source A, okay? And now we go for source B. Source B is an extract from a speech by George Lansbury to the House of Commons. On 25th November 1931, Lansbury was a British politician who devoted much of his career to promoting disarmament and world peace. I mean, gun control and peace, right? So let's read his article, right? His speech. It's just a part of that. And follow me. According to the press statements, Japan is really in practical occupation of Manchuria. I mean, they are really there. Okay, so this is the meaning here. And by sheer force of arms. So, in practical occupation of Manchuria by sheer force of arms. This is a very good word, okay? I'm gonna read the definition for sheer, okay? Sheer is sheer is an adjective, okay? É um adjetivo, né? And I'm gonna read a definition of that, okay? And then I want you to try to understand that, okay? So, sheer, some of the definitions of that, and of course I'm gonna ask you for you to check that by yourself. But reading, sheer. When we use that before a noun, like force, by sheer force of arms, okay? So let's see. Only before a noun, it's used for emphasizing the amount or degree of something. For example, Maya succeed through sheer hard work. Yeah, this is an example, like for sheer force of arms. I mean, for pela força, né? Pela força bruta, digamos assim, right? Okay. So this is the meaning of sheer. Again, definition: use it for emphasizing the amount or degree of something. Yeah, a potência de algo. Então, uma breve definição, mas check it out também, né? Pesquise no Macmillan Dictionary if you can, ok? Lembra, para quem, né? Para quem não sabe, o Macmillan Dictionary é esse aqui, ó. Dá uma olhadinha. Macmillan Dictionary, ok? Use ele, pode usar no smartphone, no computer, ele é very good, ok? Ele dá definition de English para English. Alright, so let's move on, let's get back to the reading. And again, so by sheer force of arms, if it is left like that, what will the people of the East think of the great powers of the world formed together in a league, of which Japan is the greatest Eastern power? It's a question, right? Is it? What becomes of all the paper treaties and the verbal declarations and all the solemn statements that have been made by the white statesmen of the world? So far as Europe generally is concerned, if this is allowed to go by, it means that one great power can exercise its force of arms against a weaker power that is part of the same combination, the same League of Nations, and can carry through its will without let or, and then this is a very interesting word, okay? So pay attention on the pronunciation. Hindrance. Again, hindrance. So I'm gonna read that 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 part again, okay, just for us to get one more time, okay? Just I'm gonna read again just for you to focus on. So I'm gonna begin on so far as Europe. So far as Europe generally is concerned, if this is allowed to go by, it means that one great power can exercise its force of arms against a weaker power that is part of the same combination, the same League of Nations, the same combination, the same League of Nations, and can carry through its will without let or hindrance. If Japan succeeds, it will probably be impossible in the present generation to persuade the world that this will not be the method adopted in every serious dispute in which great powers may be involved. So, I mean, it's, how can I say, he really detailed that, but basically what he's saying here is that if things continue like that, if one stronger country, if a great power, yeah, like can change the rules, yeah, can really not obey, not follow the rule as everybody is, that everybody should be following, right? Just because he's more powerful than other ones and he can, like really interfere in a weaker country. So who can say that in the future other countries in different situations, they can use the same argument, right? They can say, okay, so in the past it happened, so why we shouldn't do this right now again if it has already happened. So this is what we call here, like be careful, right? Okay, and we have this word hindrance. Okay, so this word, it's gonna be homework for you. Okay, hindrance, as you can see here. Okay, so search this word and get the meaning for me. Okay, so I'm gonna read just this last part again, just for you to really getting it in your mind. So if Japan succeeds, it will probably be impossible in the present generation to persuade the world that this will not be the method adopted in every serious dispute in which great powers may be involved. So we will not be able to convince people, yeah, that it's not gonna happen again. Okay, so this is the second source. So we had the source A, which was the picture. The second, the B one, which is this extract, yeah, of who did that? Lansbury was, okay, of this politician, Lansbury. Sure. And then we have source C and the questions. Let's go to the next one. Okay, here we have source C and the last one, right? So let's go. Exam style question, source C. An American cartoon published in 1932, its title is The Light of Asia. The Nine Power Treaty was an agreement signed by countries including Britain, the USA, France, and Japan in 1922. The countries who signed the treaty they made a promise that they would not invade China, right? That's why we have here written the nine. Oh, sorry. Let me get my thing. Okay, the nine power, right? So they have made that promise. Okay, but this cartoon here, yeah, like shows that oh, Japan is in control over that. Yeah? Why are we making this comment? Yeah, because Japan was part of this treaty, right? That they would not invade China, and in the end, Japan himself decided to do that. Yeah, like just to forget what we had promised, what we have signed. So just let's go and do what what I want. Yeah, follow my will and forget what we have said before. So that's why it's like a joke, right? So this, and then we have this cartoon here, right? That we can analyze carefully, and then by analyzing this, and I mean contrasting with the question, right? So we're gonna have to answer these exam style questions here. Okay, so let's go. Exam style questions. We're gonna have 4 questions, and they're gonna be related to all the sources that we have read before. Okay, so that's why it's very important for you to really focus on the cartoons, you know, like really analyze, read every letter that has there, make sure that you really understood what it was the meaning behind, you know, the picture, what maybe the creator of that, maybe the author, he wanted to say, right? So in this way, if you really do that deeply, it can help you to answer these questions. And then let's read the questions. Okay, remember that these 4 questions that we're going to read right now, they are, I mean, connected to the sources that we have read, A, B, and C. So let's go. And question number 1, how can you tell that source A is critical of the League of Nations? I mean, is it critical? And if yes, how can you tell that? How can you prove? So this is the question. Use source A and your own knowledge to explain your answer. So analyze source A and answer that. 2, look at source B and source C. How useful, how important would these sources be to a historian, to a person, to a historian, maybe to a history student, yeah, studying the Manchurian crisis? So again, use that the same way of thinking, right? Imagine that that you were a student, you were studying about the Manchurian crisis, and then we have this, you have access to the source B and C. So how would it help you? Yeah, how useful would it be? How important would it be to help you to get good information? Do you think it's going to be very important? So not important, and why? So this is what you have to say. Okay, and remember this. I expect good, okay, good and well structured answers, right? So moving on. Question number 3. Give an account, again, explain, of how events in Abyssinia developed into an international crisis in the 1930s. So what is the connection between the Abyssinia event, right, the situation, and the international crisis increase? Yeah, what is the connection between these 2 facts? I mean, the invasion of Abyssinia helped to develop this crisis, or no, nothing to do? Explain that. Number 4, the complicated structure of the League of Nations was the main reason for the League's collapse, destruction. So, explain how far you agree with these statements. How far, I mean, how much do you agree? You totally agree? A little? Not so much? So, what do you think about that? Okay? And then we have this just extra comment here, right? For questions like this in an exam, in a real exam, 4 extra marks, I mean 4 extra points will be available for spelling, punctuation, grammar, and using specialist terms. I mean, what I mean with that is that if you if you don't make grammar mistakes, punctuation mistakes, if you spell that correctly, and if you use words like more technical words, you know, like, or how can I say, good English vocabulary, however, even though, and you know, like some technical words that I can see that, oh, that person knows what she's talking about, and she's even using like very good vocabulary. So you will get more points, okay, just because of that, right? So that's it for today. So I hope you have understood that. So what we did today, we read these two first pages, which was just a sample, right? Okay, so we had, and we saw how the student did on that at that part, and then after we read these other three sources and the questions that we're gonna have to answer about the sources, right? So what you have to do is to answer these questions here connected to the sources. And to do that, of course, it is interesting that you read carefully the sources, and you also, if you need to go back in the classes that we had before just to get some extra information, again, feel free to Google if you need anything, right? So do your best, and of course, thank you very much for today, right? It's always a pleasure to be here. I hope you really enjoyed that topic because it's a very good, very rich. It's going to improve your English, like, I mean, to the stars, you know, like it's a really good. You are having access for a very incredible vocabulary and English points. Okay, so I enjoy that. Use that, right? Don't miss that opportunity. Okay, so thanks a lot. See you next time, and bye bye, guys. Take care.